Formula One has never been as unpredictable as it is now, and we have just received a statement that could completely change the direction of the driver market for 2026. Toto Wolff, the all-powerful Mercedes boss, has finally broken his silence on the speculation surrounding Max Verstappen, and his words have left everyone wondering, are we witnessing the end of one of the greatest dreams in modern Formula One? Or is this just another game of political chess behind the scenes in the paddock? What happened last weekend at the Austrian Grand Prix went far beyond overtaking on the track. While the cars raced in Spielberg, one of the most tense and strategic conversations of the season was taking place behind the scenes. Toto Wolff, known for his calculated diplomacy and masterful moves, decided to be more direct than usual on an issue that has been keeping fans awake at night for months. Max Verstappen at Mercedes in 2026. To understand the gravity of this situation, we need to go back in time a little. Since Mercedes began to show signs of recovery after the difficult post-2022 regulation years, speculation about Verstappen leaving Red Bull for the three-pointed star has never stopped. And it wasn't just paddock rumors or speculation in the specialist press. There were real conversations, documented meetings, and exchanged glances in the paddock that fueled the hopes of millions of fans around the world. Sources close to both teams have confirmed multiple meetings over the past few months, some of them involving not only Wolff and Verstappen, but also important figures such as Niki Lauda in the past and other strategic advisors to Mercedes. Verstappen, with his 4 world titles won in dominant fashion, has always been seen as the missing piece in Mercedes's puzzle to return to the top of Formula One. Just imagine, the fastest driver of today driving the car that was once synonymous with absolute supremacy in the category. It would be the perfect combination, the recipe for a new era of German domination in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton himself, before his move to Ferrari, even commented in interviews that seeing Verstappen at Mercedes would be something fascinating to watch, acknowledging the Dutchman's exceptional talent. But now, in Wolff's own words, that probability is very low. And when a man like Toto Wolff, who chooses each word with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker, says that something has very little chance, it usually means that the train has already left the station. Wolff's body language during the interview was also revealing. His controlled gestures and firm tone of voice indicated a decision already made, not just speculation. Interestingly, Wolff did not completely deny the talks with Verstappen. On the contrary, he openly admitted that, as the head of one of the leading Formula One teams, he has a duty to explore the possibility of signing a 4-time world champion. It's as if he were saying, "Of course we talked. It would be irresponsible of me not to." But at the same time, he made it very clear that Mercedes already has its plans for the future, plans that have been maturing over months of internal analysis and strategic discussions with the company's board of directors. And those plans have very specific names: George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Russell, who finally scored his first win of the season in Canada, has impressed Wolff in a way that few expected. The Mercedes boss was categorical in his praise for the British driver, highlighting that he has not made any significant mistakes throughout the year and has shown the pace needed to lead the team. Russell has also shown impressive maturity in dealing with the pressure of being constantly compared to Hamilton and now with speculation about Verstappen. But what about young Antonelli? Here is one of Mercedes's riskiest and at the same time smartest bets in recent years. Promoting a rookie directly to a starting spot on one of the biggest teams in Formula One is always a calculated risk. But Wolff seems convinced that the Italian is the future of the team. It's a strategy that is very reminiscent of what Red Bull did with Verstappen years ago, when it bet on youth and reaped the rewards of that decision for almost a decade. Antonelli has shown exceptional talent in the lower categories, breaking records and impressing paddock veterans with his adaptability and pure speed. And it doesn't stop there. The situation becomes even more complex when we analyze the timing of it all. Russell does not yet have a contract signed for 2026, nor does Antonelli. Technically, Mercedes still has room to maneuver to make drastic changes if Verstappen really decides to make the switch, but Wolff was smart not to set a deadline for this decision, keeping his options open without committing to either party. This strategy also serves to keep the pressure on other drivers on the grid who may be interested in a seat at Mercedes. The problem is even bigger than it seems when we consider Red Bull's current situation. The Austrian team is going through a period of internal turmoil, with issues surrounding Christian Horner's leadership and major structural changes that have created instability behind the scenes. For many analysts, this would be the perfect time for Verstappen to consider a move, especially with Mercedes showing clear signs of competitive recovery and massive investments in technological development for the coming seasons. But here comes a factor that few are considering: Verstappen's loyalty to Red Bull. The Dutchman built his career with the team, won all his titles there, and has a very strong personal relationship with key figures in the organization, including Helmut Marko and even the Mateschitz family. Switching teams at this point would be like admitting that he no longer believes in the project that took him to the top of the world. Verstappen also has a contract that runs until 2028, with termination clauses that would make any move extremely expensive and complicated from a legal standpoint. On the other hand, from a sporting point of view, a move to Mercedes could represent a new challenge in Verstappen's career. Imagine the four-time champion trying to return Mercedes to the top, fighting against his former team, and creating one of the greatest rivalries in recent Formula One history. It would be a plot worthy of a movie, capable of further increasing global interest in the category and generating record audiences for Liberty Media, which owns the commercial rights to F1. But Wolff seems to have made his decision, at least publicly. By stating that Russell and Antonelli represent the future of Mercedes, he is signaling to the market that the team will not be waiting indefinitely for a response from Verstappen. It's a smart move. It maintains the team's dignity, doesn't burn bridges with the Dutchman, and at the same time protects the interests of the drivers who are already committed to the Mercedes project. Wolff's statement also reveals something important about Mercedes's current philosophy. Rather than seeking immediate solutions through high-impact signings, the team seems to be betting on building a long-term project, developing talent, and creating a solid internal culture. It's a more sustainable approach, but also riskier in a sport where immediate results are constantly demanded by shareholders and the specialized media. And here we come to the crux of the matter. Is Mercedes really convinced that it doesn't need Verstappen? Or is this just a strategy to avoid looking desperate in the driver market? The answer probably lies somewhere between these two extremes. Wolff is too smart to completely close the door on today's greatest talent, but also experienced enough not to put all his eggs in one basket. What is clear is that 2026 promises to be one of the most interesting years in modern Formula One, regardless of where Verstappen is racing. If he stays at Red Bull, we will see the continuation of a dynasty that has already changed the course of the category. If he moves to Mercedes, we will be witnessing the beginning of a new era of epic rivalry. And if he chooses a third, completely unexpected option, then we will have one of the biggest surprises in the recent history of the sport. For now, all we can do is wait for the next chapters of this soap opera that has all the ingredients of a first-rate thriller: power, money, ego, loyalty, and lots of speed. One thing is certain. When Verstappen finally makes his decision about 2026, the entire Formula One landscape could change overnight, affecting not only the two teams involved, but the entire balance of power on the grid. What do you think of Wolff's statement? Is Mercedes really confident with Russell and Antonelli? Or is this just another political move behind the scenes of Formula One? Leave your opinion in the comments because this discussion is far from over. And since we're talking about bombshell changes in Formula One, click on the video appearing on your screen, because there, I'll tell you about another decision that could completely revolutionize the grid in the coming years and leave you jaw-dropped with the behind-the-scenes of this category that never ceases to amaze us.